On the screen is the materials list for the fly that we're going to tie today. This fly is a variant of the Irish Dabbler. The Irish Dabbler originated in Northern Ireland, designed to imitate big mayflies and bait fish for wild browns and rainbows. So you can fish it mostly as a wet fly, or you could even use it as a streamer if you'd like. The materials list that you see here, you don't have to follow to the T because what I use might not be what's best for your body of water. On the screen now, you can see this is what the fly is going to look like by the time it's done. This is one I tied previously. Um, I would say if you have your basics of how to tie flies down pretty well, this should be a pretty easy tie for most. Um, right now, I'm getting the hook, and you're going to see that I struggle for a second to put the hook in the vices. This is a new vise that I just bought the other day, and I'm getting used to all of the features. I used to tie on a Renzetti 4000, but now I switched over to an HMH TRV. So now that we got the hook in the vise, hopefully here in a second we're going to start tying. The one thing I do like about the Umpqua TMZ 100s are they are barbless, so you don't have to pinch them down. They just come that way. They're nice and sharp, and they're really nice to tie on. Right now we're putting on the thread, getting really nice tight wraps all the way through. When you break the tail piece off, make sure that you pull it toward the eye of the hook because it'll tighten things up. And also, if you go back toward the bend, it'll actually get fuzzy and it's just a mess to deal with the thread. So I always pull toward the front whenever I break it off. So now, off screen here, I'm getting the guinea fowl for the tail material. And we like to bring that thread just past the tip there. Then when we put on the tailing material, we want to do about the length of the hook shank. I usually secure this in with, 3 to 5 wraps, and then I usually do one underneath that helps keep the fibers upright. And then instead of just moving forward, I like to tie in the wire as well. This gives a nice bulky body, so that way you can build up your taper as you continue forward. Now with this fly, that's not as crucial, but something to keep in mind for other flies. In all honesty, I probably should have actually brought that up further if I was going to worry about the build of the body, but not a big deal once again because this fly is going to be very bushy and very buggy looking by the time we're done. So, going to use some wax. I use wax for just about everything. It really helps give good grip, and I very much enjoy using it when I use dubbing. If you use small amounts, then it will not, I've seen fly tying forms where people don't like wax because it changes the color of the dubbing. I don't think the fish really understand or can notice that. So to each their own, whatever style works best for you. So right now I'm building up the body and trying to get it, nice and thin and tight, and everything's starting to have some uniformity to it. Um, I do dubbing in small, short spurts. That way I can control the buildup better and also make sure I get those nice, tight wraps. And I think something that needs to be said that most tying videos don't cover is whenever I'm talking about tight wraps, yes, on the hook when you're, coming around with your thread, you want it to be tight to the hook, but also you want those thread wraps going horizontally. You want them to be tight as well. So, as an example, whenever you're tying in on the shank of the hook, you should barely be able to see any metal. All those wraps should be really nice, uniform, tied close together, and it should just be thread that you see with not much of the, metal showing. And the same goes for your dubbing. You want the same kind of, nice tight wraps that way. So that way it's just a better durable fly. As you take it out and fish it, you'll get more, you can have more trout caught on it than not. And so as I'm working up here to the eye of the hook, I'm going to leave probably about 2 millimeters behind the eye of the hook open, so that way we can tie in our other materials without overcrowding the eye. That's definitely one thing for beginner tires that they struggle with a lot, and some seasoned tires as well, is that they crowd the hook eye too much. So when you're first starting out, stay way back and tie and see if you like the head that you build up and if you have room to tie in your other materials. And you're just going to have to keep playing with it. The only way you're going to get better at this is to continue to practice and to continue to tie. And if the flies don't come out the way that you want, then you can take a razor blade and scrape it off and move on to the next one. Now I'm getting a hackle feather. This is going to be furnace red or brown, depends on how old you are and depends on what you know about the chicken feathers. If you understand the different names for essentially a brown feather. As you can see, my hands are very much in the way as I'm tying this in, but I like to tie the stem in doing a crisscross. I do 2 passes on each side going over top, and I end on the hook eye side of the fly. I'm going to grab my hackle pliers here, and we're going to start wrapping that hackle from the eye of the hook back to the tail. And these wraps, we want them to be as up and down as we can. As you can see, the back of the feather is headed toward the tail of the fly, which is what you want. So that way those fibers cut backwards and they lay better on the hook. So we're going to make wraps all the way back till we get to the end of the dubbing. And then we're going to cinch that down with the wire here. And then once we get that trapped in, then we're going to start wrapping forward. And in this video, I don't do a very good job of it, but you want to move fast whenever you do this because then you're less likely to trap the hackle fibers. If you have, I do have a rotary vise, but I know not a lot of folks have them. So if you do have a rotary vise, though, the best way to do this would be to pull your wire tight and then use the rotary, but go very quickly. And for whatever reason, the wire misses pretty much all of the hackle fibers as you go forward, so it makes it nice and clean. We're going to be adding in a collar and a wing on this, so this doesn't necessarily have to be perfect. And I can tell you that 9 times out of the 10, the fish don't care. So now we'll go ahead and trim the excess on the hackle. Now we're going to clean up the head here. We're going to pull those fibers back. We're going to trim the stem. And then we're going to keep we want to train those fibers to go back. And then we're going to tie in the wire here. So I usually do 3 wraps. And then we have some fibers that got caught, no big deal. Just trim them out or pluck them out, however you want to do it. And then we're going to snip out the wire. And then we're going to, again, clean up the head. We want all the thread up there to be uniform and get rid of all the, fiber sticking out. We want to get rid of the wire bump. We want everything to be smooth up there so we can tie in the other materials. And I did get a little bit too close to the hook eye here, so I'm going to kind of move things back a little. Again, no big deal. You can maneuver these materials any way that you want. You don't really have to have a delicate touch unless it's a delicate material. Like if you're working with starling, that can definitely be brittle. But in this case, you can do what you need to do to get the materials out of the way. So now I'm getting a partridge feather. I like the gray speckled in the front of the partridge hides for these. It just gives a real nice natural look, and a lot of mayflies and aquatic insects, they have that barring and speckled look on them. Um, and it gives it a little bit of like a wispy look, because you know, we want the partridge to be a little bit spidery looking. And so now that I'm tying that in, it's best with the partridge to go to the tip of the feather, cut out a small triangle, pull all those fibers back, and then go ahead and start doing the wraps. And when you're doing the wraps, push those fibers from that feather, pull them back toward the tail, and it'll help make that collar set a little bit nicer. And you want to keep it tight to that hackle that we already wrapped on there, so that way we have more room to tie in the wing set here, and we don't crowd the front of the hook. Okay, now we're going to just get 2 wraps of thread over top of the partridge, hold it in place. Then we're going to snip off the stem. Then we're going to pull those fibers back. And me personally, I like my partridge fibers to lay more back across the body. You can leave it more spider wispy if you want, completely up to you. That's the wonderful thing about tying flies. It's, you know, everybody has their own style and has their own likes. So don't feel like anything that I do in this video you have to follow completely. It's just, again, I do this for fun. And I mean, really, this fly looks pretty good at this point. We could leave it right there if we wanted. So now we're going to clean up the head area again, make sure we have a nice thread base, make sure everything's smooth, there's no bulkiness, and keep those fibers back. And then we're going to, there we go, we're going to get wood duck. The wood duck for the wing, you know, oh, I just trimmed a fiber that wasn't even connected to anything, so enjoy that little snippet. And I had no idea that was there because that's on the opposite side of the hook. So now we're going to get a wood duck feather. The wood duck, I like to cut out the middle piece and then pull fibers back, fold it, and then put it over top. And I like my wing to be about halfway to the tail. So whenever the wing is out and sticking up from the fly, that tip of that wing will be about halfway point of the tail. Again, personal preference. Do it however you want to do it. Whatever catches you fish, that's what it's all about. So, but now you can start to see how the color and stuff on this is building up. You got nice barring from the partridge feather, and we've got the browns and the reds, and starting to in some tan color as well. And then the brown of the thread starting to make the contrast look nice. Taking me a while to get this wood duck feather going, let me tell you. I'd like to say it's being a perfectionist, but I am farthest thing from perfect in this realm. There we go. Now we got the wood duck feathers. So we're going to go ahead and cinch that down. And then we're going to fix it kind of rolled a little bit there so we can roll it back. You know, we're going to make that again, get that wing where we want it. In this one, I don't think I actually got it to the halfway point for the tailing, but again, completely okay. Now we're going to snip the excess material. You can use the hook of the eye, or the eye of the hook, to get your angle. Then we're going to work from the back of the hook eye up. If you do it that way, it actually makes for a really, really nice head on these. You know, and then you'll see that I'll turn it that way so I can see where the brown thread wraps underneath stop, because I want that to all be uniform. So now we're just going to do some extra wraps for durability, get things nice and tidy and cleaned up. Okay, that's probably a little too much, but you know, that's all right. Okay, now we're going to get a whip finish out. For these flies, I whip finish anywhere from 7 to 10 turns, whatever, whatever you want to do. Again, personal preference. Um, then we're going to cut that thread. And then we're going to add, I use for a varnish, Sally Hansen's Hard as Nails. Works really, really well. And if you follow any other fly tires on YouTube, it's pretty well known throughout the industry. So this particular bottle is getting old, so it's a little tacky, so I got to kind of push it into the threads. And I hope you enjoyed this tie, and I hope to catch you on the next one. Please leave any comments. I need, reviews as we go. So thank you.